Johnny Murray here, and welcome to a brand new tier list video. Today we're going to be doing horror games, survival horror games. I don't really know, there's a little bit of mixed genre. There's some in here that aren't really survival horror, but there's some that like are single player. The way I'm looking at this is if it is a like single player story driven horror game, then that's what I'm doing, because I feel like survival horror, like if we're talking just the Resident Evil, Silent Hills, Dead Spaces of the world, there's really not like a whole lot, at least that I've played, and so I'm kind of just including single player story driven horror games. That's kind of what I'm doing. There are some games in here that do have a co-op mode, but if its priority or its core is single player, then I put it in here. For instance, like Dying Light is in here. That is a single player game at its core, but there is a co-op mode if you decide to do it. But like things like Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight, those are not in here because those are strictly multiplayer horror games that are just completely different. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things that I had to go about trying to figure out what exactly tier list I want to do. As well as something else I'm doing this time around is I've went ahead and moved all the games that I've played or that I'm actually going to put on tiers to the top. That way we don't have that extra tier at the bottom, like I don't know / I don't care, because there's just gonna be a lot on there because there's so many Silent Hills, there's so many Resident Evils, there's so many just crazy horror games that I've never even touched, so that tier would just be crammed to the absolute fullest. But I have played a lot, and if you guys know me, you guys know I love survival horror games. They are easily top 3 genre for me now. I mean, like, so many survival horror games are in my top 50 of all time. There's so many in my top 20. There's so many in my top 10. Or, like, you guys know I love survival horror games. And so this is going to be an interesting tier list because Silent Hill 2 just came out, the remake. We just got announced for Chronos, The New Dawn, made by Bloober Team, the same team that made Silent Hill 2 remake. We're a year off from Alan Wake 2 and Resident Evil 4 remake now. Survival horrors is really kicking it. Alien Isolation 2 was just announced pretty much. There really is so much to love and be excited for the survival horror genre and community, and I'm so happy to be part of it. So let's get talking about survival horror games. But if you guys love video games, consider sharing with your friends, subscribing. I appreciate all the support. It doesn't matter what you love here, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third-party, indie, PC, VR, whatever it may be. Consider subscribing. We cover video games, news, and reviews daily here on this channel. And yeah, thank you all so much for all the support, especially the one on this video right here. But let's get talking about survival horror games and put them on some tier lists. So we have our 6 tiers here. These are the tiers that we're pretty much going to be using for every tier list from now on, depending on the like category. Like if we're ranking games, then this will be, if we're ranking like characters or something else, that'll be different. But when we're ranking games, these are the tier lists we're going to be doing. Masterpiece is our top tier. I mean, you really can't get better than a masterpiece. I mean, yeah. Then we have Golden, which is games that are so phenomenal, so awesome, but not quite the masterpiece or not quite like my favorite. Because masterpiece could also go as just my favorite. Like, do I think it's like a masterpiece? Yes. It may not be like a 10 out of 10, but is it like in my top tier? Yes. Golden is, I think it's phenomenal. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites, but it's not quite like a masterpiece. I'm Diving Deep is a game that I really like. I really enjoy. A game that I'd recommend that has a lot of great things about it, but isn't like up there with some of the best. Good Memory, that's it, is a game that I thought was okay. I had some fun with it, but I had a lot of issues with it. Something I kind of just I played and then I threw it to the backside. Nah is a game that I really didn't like. That I'm just wouldn't really recommend to anybody. And yeah, and then Stray Booty Cheeks is the game I hate or I absolutely do not like, and definitely stay away from that game. So yeah, those are our 6 tiers. So let's get started with Resident Evil 3. I kind of jumbled all these around, so I have no idea what order these are in, but I guess we're starting with Resident Evil 3. Oh, we just had to start with this one, didn't we? Wow. Okay, I was hoping this would be later on so I can kind of compare it to other games on this tier list, because I really don't know how I feel or where I want to put Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3 is in my top 50 games of all time, and this is specifically the remake. I have Resident Evil 4, the original, and Resident Evil 4, the remake on here. That's because I have played both. To put it simply, if I've played the game, it's on the tier list. I've only played the remake of Resident Evil 3, and I absolutely love it. And to be honest, I've thought about this a lot I think it is my favorite Resident Evil. And I know that is going to trigger so many people. And everybody's screaming at me. Because, look, I'll be the first to admit, Resident Evil 3, the remake, I understand why it's a little bit disappointing for a lot of people, especially compared to the original, because I went and looked at the original and why there was so much hate towards the remake. It's because there is a lot of cut content. There was a lot of content and there was a lot of things that were just changed from the original, and I could see that. But from somebody who's never played the original, for somebody who just loves survival horror, zombies, who loves a great antagonist, Nemesis is the coolest Resident Evil antagonist. I don't care what anyone says. Resident Evil 3 is just the most fun to me. I guess I would say it's so exciting from start to finish. It's just 6-7 hours of straight action, straight stress, straight intensity. It is so fun. I love Resident Evil 3 so much. And even with the issues, right? Even with the issues, I think I'm gonna go, if this was a complete personal tier list, if this was a ranking, I would put it in the top tier. But also, as a fan and as a consumer, I do notice its issues. And I do wish it was longer. And do I think it's a better game than 2 and 4? No. So I am going to put it golden because I absolutely do love this game, and I would absolutely recommend it to anybody who's a fan of survival horror. And I do think it is, even with its issues, I do still think it is a great game. But yeah, I think it's going to go golden. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I know it's a weird one, but I mean, it is a single-player horror game. Honestly, I really love this game. I think what they did with Five Nights at Freddy's, what they did with its genre, what they did with the map and everything, I think is so cool. Honestly, when you think about it, I'm okay, is it one of the best horror games of all time? No, but when I think about how much I actually enjoyed it and how much I actually remember from this game and how much I would be excited for a Security Breach 2, I think this game is also going golden for me. I think this is a game I really love. I think this is a game I would easily recommend. I think this is a game I'm really much looking forward to its future. I really think there's a lot of great things about Security Breach, and I think it's also going golden. I'm gonna let you guys know right now, this tier list is gonna be very top heavy. There's gonna be very few down here because this genre just very, very rarely misses. It's quite frankly a go-to genre. The Medium. This is an interesting one. I think as a concept, as a story, I think The Medium is very strong. I think it's very good. I think as a video game, it's kind of whatever. I think this is a game I would recommend if you like these kind of games. This is definitely a Silent Hill-esque type of game where it's slow, it's very mysterious, it's very lore heavy, it's very world building heavy. But it's not the most exciting thing in the world. I would say I'm diving deep. I think it's a very good game. Is it one of my favorites? No. Is it a game that I love? No. But I genuinely enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed playing it with a friend. Actually, we were both in the same room playing at the same time. Awesome memory for sure. But I don't think it's the most exciting game in the world, nor do I love it the most. So I'm gonna go with that. Resident Evil 4. So, I mean, it's going masterpiece. I mean, there really is no debate. But I do want to come back to this conversation in a little bit because I recently replayed Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 this year. All in a pretty much really tight space with each other. And I do plan on playing 5, 6, 7, and 8. I low-key love Resident Evil now. Resident Evil has quickly jumped up as one of my favorite franchises, which is wild because last year I made a Capcom tier list, or was it earlier this year I made a Capcom tier list, and I put Resident Evil in the second tier. It's easily top tier. I don't know what I was smoking, to be honest with you. But no, Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. I mean, it might be one of the most balanced experience you're ever going to get. It might be one of the most perfect experiences you're ever going to get. There really is never a downside to this game. There really is always a upside to this game. And one of my friends actually said something one day, which I actually think is so true, is if somebody came up to you and was like, what's just a good game? Like, if you could just recommend any game, no matter what genre they liked, no matter what games they've liked in the past, what would just be your go-to recommendation for a good game? I think Resident Evil 4 is, like, easily up there with one of the best answers, because it really is just so perfectly well-rounded. It's exciting. You get attached to the characters. It's fun. It's beautiful. It's, like, amazing visuals. It really is just everything you want out of a video game, so I think it is easily a masterpiece. Scorn, this is a game I'm going to go with nah. This is a game I did not really enjoy. I think it was kind of mid, to be honest with you. But I do think it has some benefiting factors from it. I think its visuals is top of the class. I think its visuals and art style is just insane. Outside of that, I don't really like anything else about the game. I was not a fan of the gameplay. I couldn't even understand the story. The music is like non-existent. It really is just a visual game. Which, if you're about that, then yeah, I'm not gonna put it straight booty cheeks because I don't think it is trash. It's just not for me. It just really is not for me. Layers of Fear. These are games that I think are just okay at best. And I'm going to go ahead and put Layers of Fear 2 here as well. These are just games where there really isn't much of a story. There really isn't much gameplay. It really is just like, let's just see how many different scary things we can put in a game and see if they like it. It kind of is one of those things like, I know it's a really weird comparison, but have you ever played like those Roblox games where it's like an elevator and like every floor is like a different like kind of like horror thing or like experience? It's kind of like that, where it's like you experience one horror thing and then you move on to the next thing, you move on to the next thing. It's just a bunch of scary things into one game that isn't really that engaging, but I mean, it's fun. Like, there is some fun to be had there because it is horror, and they do a good job with the horror. Like, I will say that. Silent Hill 2. Man, this is a hard one. It's a really hard one. I just finished this, or I didn't just finish it, but I just experienced the full thing. Let me go ahead and explain, because I've yet to do my review on this at the time of recording this. You guys are gonna see my review before you see this video, I think. I've played about 80% of the game, and then for some reason, something happened with my PlayStation or my game where it just completely got rid of my save file for like 25% of the game. And so I was back to like halfway in the game when I was like at 80% of the game. I know those percentages didn't just add up. Don't worry about it. But like, it took me back to like halfway through the game. And I'm not trying to replay all that. So I literally just watched the last 20%. I just watched someone play through the last 20% of it. Like, I watched all the gameplay, I watched all the cutscenes. I didn't just watch cutscenes. Like, I watched somebody play the last 20% of it. So I know exactly how it ends and everything. I was very upset, trust me. Even with that blunder, I want to put it masterpiece, but I don't think that's how I feel. I don't think that's truly how I feel. I think it is going golden. It is going top of golden. I think this game has some of the best highs out of any horror game. I think its atmosphere, its just weirdness to it is so just special. Why, dude, tier list is so laggy today for some reason. I don't understand. It really is just so unique. I love its story. I love its characters. I love its environment. It's all just so great. Its gameplay is very solid, I think. I think its music is awesome. There's so many great things to love. I just think it's inconsistent. I think its pacing is needs work. But like, I think its moment to moment like stuff is so great. I just think everything in between those moments leaves a little bit to be desired. Yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal. That's like the best word I could give it. I would not say the game is a masterpiece. If somebody asked me my opinion, I'd be like, it's a phenomenal game. I wouldn't say, oh, this game is a masterpiece, you know, like some other things. So I think it is going golden, but I think the just like concept and the like feeling I get from Silent Hill is, oh, this is like a top tier video game, top tier game, but I don't think it'd be like, I don't think Silent Hill 2 specifically is a masterpiece. Silent Hill: The Short Message. Well, I mean, y'all know exactly how I feel about this game. This one is going, dude, why is tier list so laggy? I don't understand. It's going to straight booty cheeks. I think this game had a lot of potential. It really did. I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this real quick, by the way, guys, so you can see. Short Message had a lot of potential. Its execution was just awful. Its execution was just awful. It was so, just whatever, so forgetful. Am I putting it below Scorn, though? That's the question. I think, yeah. I really don't see any positive thing about Short Message that I could say outside of its potential was there, but potential is nothing. Like, potential is completely wasted if not executed. Like, if I was to put it a tier higher because of its potential, that's me completely theorizing. That's not me judging its quality or execution, like, whatsoever. So I think I'm going with straight booty cheeks. Still Wakes the Deep. This is a game I am diving deep with. I think this game is really good at what it's supposed to be. Like a nice little horror experience on an oil rig, which I love the concept. I think it's fun. There's a lot of great moments in it, but is it something that's going to leave a lasting impression on me? Something I'm going to love? No. But I do really, really enjoy that game. Outlast. One of the scariest games of all time. Going with Golden. I think this game is the definition of what a horror game is, for real. Like, this game is so scary and it's so awesome. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best for sure. Dino Crisis. Now, some would argue this isn't even a horror game, but I guess it is, in some ways. Why is tier list so laggy, dude? Alright, Dino Crisis. I mean, it's going Golden. This game is awesome. This game is awesome. Dino Crisis is just fun. It's just such a vibe. It's just such a vibe. Capcom needs to bring it back, bro. They need to bring it back. Dino Crisis is easily a fan favorite for sure. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This is another tough one. I do think it is one of the better Resident Evil games. One of the best Resident Evil games. But I am going to go Golden with it as well. Is it one of my favorites? No. But is it a game I absolutely love and I think has so many great things about it? Absolutely. It's going Golden. Outlast 2. Outlast 2 is going diving deep. I think it continues a lot of the greatness Outlast 1 had, but I think it is just slightly worse. Blair Witch. It's a scary game for sure, but I'm gonna put it. Ooh, I don't know. This one's a tough one. There's some great things about this game, man. There are some really great things about this game, but I think at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna say diving deep. I think I'm gonna say diving deep because I did really enjoy it, and I do recommend this game to. I have recommended this game to people, so I would say that. Dead Space. Dead Space 1, the original. I'm gonna put it Golden, and we'll come back to that later. I think there's a better option. Resident Evil 4, the original. I mean, again, I'm gonna put it Golden just for the simple fact I think there's a better option. I get it. Look, I'm one of those people, okay? I'm one of those people, and I'm gonna stand on business on this. All right. Nostalgia does not make a game better. It can make a game preferred for sure. If you prefer the original over the remake, I completely understand that. But if you were gonna go out here and tell me that everything about the original is just a little bit better than the remake, that is straight cap. Because everything about the remake is just the original, but with better technology. That's literally it. Like, I really don't understand. Sorry about that for the weird noise. I really don't understand the argument. Like, okay, nostalgia, man, I grew up with it. It was revolutionary for its time. Okay, I get it. You prefer the original, but its visuals are better, its gameplay is more refined, its story is pretty much the exact same, the characters are the exact same, the music is just the exact same, if not more, if not better. Like, everything is just improved upon. It's going golden because Resident Evil 4 Remake is in Matt Masterpiece. Sorry, I had to go on a little bit of a rant there. Until Dawn. Honestly, I low-key think this game is kind of overrated in a sense. I think it's a great game. I'm gonna... Ooh. No, it's gotta go golden. Putting on the same tier as these is crazy. We have a lot of goldens, dude. Hold on. Moving Dino Crisis down. No, I'm not. I'm crazy. No, I am. I'm moving Dino Crisis down. I think... Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna put Until Dawn in Diving Deep because I'm putting, and this is gonna be a hot take. I'm gonna get flamed. I'm putting Corey. What the heck? Where'd that show up? I'm putting Corey. Dude, why is tier list so laggy? Holy moly. Putting Corey in golden. I prefer the Corey over Until Dawn. I'm gonna just be honest. I prefer its characters. I prefer its story. I just prefer the way the game played out over Until Dawn. But I do think Until Dawn is still a great game. This genre of game is just so fun, if done correctly. Yeah, I have to give it its props. But yeah, I think for me, I do prefer Corey over Until Dawn. So I'm diving deep with Until Dawn, golden for the Corey. Alien Isolation, low key. I hate to put another thing golden, but I just have to. Like, there's so many phenomenal horror games, dude. Like, there really is. There's just so many, like, phenomenal games. So I'm gonna go with that. Dying Light 2, it's one of my favorites. I mean, it really, I mean, it's in my top 50 games of all time. It's not a masterpiece, though. It's just not. It's going golden. Again, I mean, dude, I hate to say it. They're really, like, I could easily put Until Dawn and Dino Crisis in golden, too. Like, there is just so many good horror games. Oh, boy. Alan Wake 2, y'all already know. I mean, we don't have to go through all this again. But, like, I mean, it's my third favorite survival horror game of all time. Or no, pause. What am I talking about? It's my third favorite game of all time. Alan Wake 2. Everything about it I just think is perfect. I think its gameplay is perfect. I think its music is perfect. I think its gameplay is... Did I already say that? I think its story is like easily one of the best stories. Or no, not best story. Its storytelling is easily some of the best storytelling I've ever seen in a video game. Its characters are god tier. Its just atmosphere, its visuals are god tier. Everything about it is just awesome. I love it from beginning to end. I've played it so many times, and every time it just still wows me. The game is simply put a masterpiece, like easily. Slender, The Arrival. Good memory, that's it. I think Slenderman's kind of overrated in a way, but I mean, it's so iconic though, and it does have some fun to be had. The Metro games. This is hard because I know I've played all the Metro games, but I can't really specify or like remember in my head which ones were which. So to be honest, I'm just gonna go with like, I'm gonna go Diving Deep on 2033 and Last Light. But I am going to go golden on Exodus because I do remember Exodus being just absolutely awesome, incredible. So I'm going to go with that. Dead Space 3. Diving Deep. And that's because I think Dead Space 2 is golden. And I think Dead Space Remake is a masterpiece. Again, I put Dead Space 1 Original and Golden because I just simply think Dead Space Remake is just better. I think it just simply does everything better. I mean, Dead Space is, again, just one of the all-time greats. I mean, low-key, you could easily put Silent Hill 2 in Masterpiece. I think there'd be a lot of people who do. I'm personally not. But, like, for a long time, the conversation was the holy trinity of horror games. Dead Space, Resident Evil, and Silent Hill. And now I do feel Alan Wake is in that conversation. When I see tweets on Twitter of, like, what game would you prefer out of these four? Alan Wake is always in the conversation now. Like, it just is. Because people recognize that it is just that good. It is up there with the all-time greats now. And, you know, Dead Space, Resident Evil, and Alan Wake, and Silent Hill are just the kings of the genre. They just are. They literally run the genre for a long time now. And Dead Space is just one of those. It's such a great vibe. It's such a great atmosphere. It's such a great concept. And the execution is just there. Dying Light 1. Again, I'm going Golden. I mean, it's so awesome. Dying Light 2 I do like better, but I think Dying Light 1 is just as good. The Evil Within. Man, what a great game. I think I'm going Golden with it. I have to, dude. There's so many great games, dude, with the Evil Withins. Oh my gosh. So many great games within horror. Evil Within 2 is just as good, if not better. If not worse. I don't know. It really depends. It just comes down to preference for that one. But I do think I'm going to go Golden with those two. Hellblade 1. Golden. Hellblade 2. Golden. There's so many phenomenal horror games, dude. Like, I'm sorry I'm putting everything in Golden, but that's just, I have to do it. I have to do it. Alan Wake 1. I'm going Golden. It's a classic. It started the whole thing. It's nowhere near the level of 2 in my opinion, but it's so good, and I absolutely love it. Little Nightmares 1. Honestly, I'm going to go diving deep. I'm going to go diving deep with Little Nightmares 1. I know that might be a hot take. I do think Little Nightmares 2 is superior. And so I am going to go Golden with Little Nightmares 2. But, I mean, both of these games are super fun, super awesome, highly recommend. In a way, they're kind of like that weirdly charming thing, just because it is kind of one of those more casual games, but so it kind of is charming in that way, but like in no sense or shape or the form, like it's aesthetic charming, you know? So, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Resident Evil 2 is our last one. So, here's the hot take. And that's why I said I wanted to come back to the Resident Evil 4 conversation. After replaying the 2, 3, and 4, I think I can easily say, not easily, but I think I can confidently say, I think Resident Evil 2 is the best Resident Evil. And I know I'm not alone in that conversation. I do think Resident Evil 4 is still the most popular answer for what is the best Resident Evil, because I do think it is the best, most well-rounded one. But there is a large community and big chunk of people who do think Resident Evil 2 is the best one, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm a part of that group. I think Resident Evil 2, it's just level design, it's just design in general, its characters, its story, its location, its environment. It is something about it just is so much more exciting to me than Resident Evil 4. And when I look at a personal enjoyment, thing, look, here's my tier list if we're going based off of personal enjoyment. It looks like this. These are my top 5 right here. If we're going purely based off of personal enjoyment, or actually, I'd probably say that. I would say this. These are my top 5 based off of personal enjoyment. Top 6, might I add. But I think realistically, you know, we got to calm down a little bit, and we got to move. No, that stays up there. God, tier list is so laggy, dude. I have to wait for everything to register. I don't understand why it's so laggy. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is my tier list. I do think the 4 masterpiece games that I have here are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, and Resident Evil 2. I think an argument can easily be made for Silent Hill being masterpiece, for Dead Space and Resident Evil 4, the originals, being masterpieces. I think I would argue Resident Evil 3 is a masterpiece because I just love it so much. I think even Outlast has an argument. I think Alien Isolation has an argument for being masterpiece material. But I do think there's an argument for things being in Diving Deep rather than Golden as well. I think some of the Hellblades can maybe be argued. I think the Quarry can be argued. I think Dying Light can be argued. But for the most part, as you can see, there are so many just great horror games. And I just easily love so many of them. Like, as you can see, I love a lot. I really enjoy a lot too, and I don't like very many. Like I don't. There's not a lot that I do not like. So it's a huge compliment. But that's gonna do it for this tier list, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, definitely leave a like, leave a comment in the section I'll be provided, and please subscribe. I will see you all in the next one. Johnny Morales. Peace.